Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the USBL here on MLB The Show 21, using that PS5, of course. We got 4 games on tap for you guys, and there's going to be some great USBL action going for you here. So I need you guys to do me a favor off rip, man. Make sure you smash that like button, and then also on top of it, make sure you smash that subscribe button as well, man, as we go ahead and get things officially underway here, watching the San Jose Marauders taking on the Seattle Pilots in what's turning into an ALS matchup to definitely watch out for, as both teams are only like a few games apart from each other, as Mike Trout, who actually has surprisingly struggled so far this season, he's going to actually get an RBI double, you know, to try to go ahead and get that that batting average up. That's actually only his 3rd RBI double of the entire season, but he came through in the clutch right there, and San Jose does get on the board first to start things off here. Now up 1-0, as Anthony Rizzo will now come to the plate. He's batting .277 so far in the season. A deep fly ball out to center field. It is going to be caught for an out, but that being said, another run is going to come in. A close play at the plate. Nice little throw from center field, but San Jose is going to be able to go ahead and get a 2nd run on the board. But Yuri Guerrero, he's actually going to ground out in the next at bat. Really nice play by the shortstop, by the way. But San Jose starts out, man. They're going to be up 2-0 here. And this game is hardly started. Seattle has not even come up to the plate yet. Shohei Ohtani is going to be coming up for the San Jose Marauders. He's going to be starting off for them in today's game, as we go ahead and flash forward to the bottom of the 3rd, where Harrison Boder is at the plate. He ends up striking out, so Ohtani off to a nice start so far, but running into a little bit of trouble here in the bottom of the 3rd, as he ends up walking Elvis Andires in order for the bases to be loaded, and there's only 1 out here in the process. Tommy Edman coming up to the plate, only batting .245. Not that great of a start so far, but that's going to be a good hit going down the center field. Looks like it's going to be caught by Mike Trout, who gets it in quickly, but it won't be enough though, as a run is going to score for the Seattle Pilots. So Tommy Edman is going to be called for the out, but at the same time though, good work by Thomas Edman at the same time to at least make sure it's hit deep enough so that you can get it out there. Though Ohtani does end up settling down here for a little bit, he will end up striking out Aaron Judge. And so Seattle, they didn't even have any hits in this inning. That was literally all from walks, like from Ohtani. So not a great inning from a control standpoint, but you know, it's not going to happen very often. Neither is the home run ball. Anthony Rizzo going deep in the top of the 4th. That's his 7th one of the season. And now San Jose's up 3-1 here, as Eric Raleigh tries to get back on track and make sure no more damage is going to be done in this inning, as he has a 1-2 count on Jake Snyder, but Snyder strikes out swinging though, so nobody else gets on base after the solo shot from Anthony Rizzo. But San Jose gets that 1 run back, and it's now back up to a 2-run lead, as we now head to the bottom of the 4th inning. See if Seattle can go ahead and respond, as Rafael Devers has a nice base hit out to left field. And Devers, he's actually going for 2nd base. He's going to be able to stand up at 2nd as well. You'll love to see it, as Devers, he gets his 6th double of the season. Team is filled with guys that like to get extra base hits. As you see the graphic on the screen, lots of guys with multiple doubles, even though we're only a month and a half into the season so far. As that will bring up David Dahl to the plate. He's also going to hit it out into left field as well. That's actually going to go ahead and bring in Rafael Devers into home. And Seattle instantly responds with at least 1 run of their own. David Dahl able to make it to first base. As now Wilson Contreras now comes to the plate here. 1-1 count. The pitch, and that's hit hard down the left field. That's going to be gone like a girl in a country song. only the second home run of the season for Willson Contreras. And for the first time today, the Seattle Pirates are actually going to go ahead and take the lead. Ohtani was just off to such a phenomenal start, but, you know, at the same time, starting to fall apart a little bit here. But David Dahl trying to go for third and is going to be safe. No, it's a double play. They're going to call him out. What a throw. What a perfect throw in order to get him out. As now Elvis Andrés is now back up at the plate. 0 for 1 so far in the day, but lines out right to the first baseman. And the inning is over, but Willson Contreras giving, just with one swing on the bat, the first lead of the day for the Seattle Pirates. And, you know, we might have ourselves a little bit of a barn burner, as that's like 3 half innings in a row where someone has scored. And it looks like it could continue here too, as there's another base hit in the gap that turns into a double. And it looks like that's going to count as the 8th double of the season for Weary Garcia. And because of that, Austin Pruitt actually will now come into the game and replace Eric Lawler, and comes in a pretty tough spot right now. Bases loaded. Only one out here in the process. That's hit deep, and it's going to be out of the ballpark, and it ends up being a grand slam for Jimenez. And that's the 8th home run of the season for him. And now San Jose finds themselves up 7-4 now. So a big inning for the San Jose Marauders. Although no other damage is done besides the grand slam, which, granted, is a really big deal to say the least. Really good swing, by the way. And now here we go, bottom of the 5th inning. See if Seattle can keep the offensive fireworks going. And Devers, is he going to have 2 home runs in one game? He's going to. Wow. 6th home run of the day for him. And that makes it 7-6. So Seattle only down by 1 run at this point. As Willson Contreras, he tries to go for the fences again as well. But he's actually going to go ahead and strike out swinging. As now CJ Cron comes to the plate here once again. A full count to work with. That ball is hit pretty hard out to center field, but Mike Trout is able to go ahead and track the ball down. But Rafael Devers trying to keep his team back in the game, starting with the extra base hit just an inning ago, and now has himself a home run that has him back into this game. But we'll see if they have what it takes, you know, to keep it a 1-score game. You gotta be able to contain Mike Trout at the very least. But I mean, a hit like that, you know, able to get it out, a double on that play, as Mike Trout ends up getting the 4th double of this season. And, you know, it's been a really lot of offensive fireworks, you know, and it's not even mainly from the dingers. You know, a lot of extra base hits, you know, just good hitting in general. As Mike Trout, he looks like he's going to be able to get home as well. But wait a minute, that throw was good. And Mike Trout was actually almost considered out. That was a really close play. I thought he had it, to be honest with you. But, I mean, no more damage is done. The Marauders only end up getting 1 run in this inning. But a lot of hits going on. Both teams combining for close to 20 hits. And we're not even done with this game yet. That's the crazy part. As Daniel Norris will come into the game now for the Marauders, trying to slow down the offensive fireworks a little bit. See if they can hang on to this 2-run lead. As Devers, he's going to go deep once again. Trout can't get to it in time. And we're going to have to throw it down into the infield quickly. And it's going to be another double for Rafael Devers. His 2nd double of this game. He also has a home run as well on top of it. And that brings up Willson Contreras a couple batters later. Still nobody out, by the way. Gonna get this blooper right down in front of the right fielder, and a run's gonna score for the Seattle Pirates, and it's back down to a 1-run game here once again, as this brings back CJ Cron, who's 1 for 2 on the day as well. Justin Tapa actually coming in the game to try to, you know, even things out here just a little bit. CJ Cron is actually gonna strike out looking. As now Jalen Miller at the plate. He's 1 for 2 so far on the day, and it's gonna be a short ground out. Seattle cannot take the lead despite having somebody in scoring position with just one out. But man, what a way to start off this episode here. Way to start off the month of May in general, as we have a really close one here thus far. Neither team, has really been able to rely on the bullpen much at all to, trying to get some stops on defense. And it looks like that's still going to continue to be the case here as well, as that's almost another home run here by Yuri Guerrero this time around. Instead, it is counted as a double, his 6th double of the season, as Dansby Swanson, he's going to get a base hit up the middle, and that's going to be able to bring in Yuri Guerrero, who will be considered safe. And so a 9-7 game. You absolutely, if you love offense, you're going to love this. There's been a lot of high scoring games here in the USBL, man. It really is turning to, not if you can get a shutout, who can make a critical stop, because there's not really a lot of stops, it seems like, as we're progressing through the USBL season, as Jarrett Gutu is going to come into the game now. And what a mustache to look at. Not a great season for him, though. ERA is close to 7, but the mustache this man has, I promise you, not a created player, as he's going to take this one out for a ride. Jarrett Gutu cannot get the hold in a critical free-run shot for Lurie Garcia. That's good for his 4th home run of the season. Gutu eventually going to calm things down a little bit. Going to be able to strike out Yuri Guerrero swinging. But man, that was not the critical stop that they needed whatsoever. San Jose now with a 6-run lead. And now the Seattle Pilots, they got a ton of work that needs to be done here. 13-7 ball game. And it's not looking good. Looks like the bullpen starting to get the job done here, as Justin Toppin got a 1-1 count on David Dahl. But David Dahl not trying to give up on this game just yet. Able to get the base hit. He's going to try to swing it for 2, but may not been the brightest idea in the world. He actually almost gets thrown out. Very fortunate that it was a little bit of a delayed response. And so David Dahl was actually able to go ahead and stretch that out to a double. And it's now only a 5-run game. We'll see if Wilson Contreras has a little bit more magic left in the bat as he tries to take this one for a ride, but just barely misses it though. So a couple of men left on base here again. And Seattle's going to be down by 5 runs here. And there's not a lot of baseball left to play. Jalen Miller going to try and go ahead and trying to keep the hopes and dreams alive for the Seattle Pilots, but he's going to end up striking out swinging. But what a way to start off this episode, man. 21 runs being scored in this ball game, but San Jose is going to come out on top. They're going to win this game by a final score of 13-8 in what turned out to be a classic in the AL West. As we'll go ahead now and go back out east, take a look at this matchup between the Charlotte Cougars and the Cleveland Rockers, who, a little bit on different spectrums. Cleveland off to a great start. They're leading their division. They have one of the best records in all of baseball right now. They have a 17-8 record to start the month of May. That is fantastic to see. Charlotte, on the other hand, though, not so great, though. They're actually, 4 games under 500. I thought Charlotte, honestly, would be a little bit better than what they have seen so far, but that simply has not been the case. Sometimes, baseball teams, may look good on paper, but, might not actually reflect that on the baseball field. As Ian Happ, he's going to come up to the plate. He's going to send this one deep out to right field, and that one is gone. A no-doubter, not going to even try to go to the wall, put any effort towards that. But, hey, Charlotte might be considered the underdog, but that being said, though, they are already up 2-0. They're trying to jump up quickly on the Cleveland Rockers, and shoot, we might see 2 home runs in the same inning, and we do end up doing so. Garrett Cooper also ending up going deep as well. So now a 3-0 game. Jack Flaherty just getting lit up like a Christmas tree. And are we going to see 3 home runs in the same inning from Charlotte? Stop it. Just Stop it. Jamir Coniero with his 4th home run of the season. And guys, we had 3 home runs in the same inning from Charlotte, going off to a great start. And this was kind of a problem for Cleveland too, back on opening day when we saw them play against the New York Knights, back when the season first started. And I don't know if it's one of those things either where, Cleveland is really good in the sim, but then when you actually get them in the game, they're actually maybe not as good as maybe the sim engine maybe precedes them to be. It happens sometimes, as Charlotte is on Cleveland early on. They might be trying to, it would be something else if they actually end up being blown out. But I mean, it's only the top of the 2nd inning though. There's still certainly a lot of baseball that is left to be played, as Charlotte Cabuser, and he's actually going to come up to the plate here. 2-2 count. Jack Flaherty starting to find his rhythm a little bit, gets the strikeout there. Let's see if he can get out Tim Anderson too. No, it's actually a grounder up the middle, and it looks like that's going to bring in yet another run here at the same time. The throw is offline, so Tim Anderson able to move the second base as well on top of it. So that's going to count as an error, and guys, Jack Flaherty is going to be knocked out of the game already. They're going to have to call on the long reliever, Jose Cancero, in order to come in and at least trying to salvage this game a little bit, make sure no more damage is done. But Joey Votto, he's going to take advantage of the opportunity, and although we might have someone being sent late, this could be a close play at the plate. No, it's safe. Tim Anderson makes it, even though, he went really late. I'm surprised he didn't went immediately originally. That was a lot closer of a call than what it needs to be. Just maybe not be fully aware of what's going on. But hey, Charlotte's still on to a fantastic start. They're up 6-0 now. And man, things could get really rough here, especially if Cancero hits another home run. And he really tried to, but didn't get all of it. And it's just going to be a bloop out. But man, that could have been an absolute disaster for Cleveland, who still hasn't even had a hit. They have more errors right now in the field than they do hits right now. They really need to go about changing that, as Kende Moncada, he is rocking and rolling so far. No pun intended for Cleveland Rockers. But we're going to finally see someone get on the board for Cleveland, as Ken Grubb takes that out for a ride. A absolute no doubter right there. Home run for Ken Grubb. And Cleveland is finally on the board. They're only down 6-1. We'll see if Marcus Semien can go ahead and do anything else here in the bottom of the 4th inning. No, will not. But Cleveland at least gets on the board thanks to Ken Grubb in order to make sure it's no longer a shutout. But hey, if you are Cleveland right now, that is what you have to do whenever you have a bigger deficit staring you in the face right now. You just got to go ahead. You got to try to make sure, you're chipping at it little by little. You might not be able to go ahead and get it all back at once, but you can get a little bit here and there. Maybe you can come back and win this game. There's still plenty of baseball left to play here, as Cameron Maybin, he's going to come to the plate after Ryan Mountcastle strikes out. Although this is a nice hit down the right field, it's going to end up being caught, but hey, this could bring in another run here for Cleveland. And now Cleveland's down 6-2. Got another run on the board at the very least. It's exactly what you want to do. And Nelson Cruz, he's known to have a pretty good bat, even in his advanced age. Can't play defense like he used to. Don't want him out in the field, but usually he can get some stuff done with the bat as well. But not quite that time, though. Nelson Cruz going to end up striking out in order to end the inning. But Cleveland does make it another run on the board. And Cleveland now finds themselves only down by 4. But we're in the 7th inning now. Is it a little bit of a too little too late? Or are we going to see one of the best comebacks in this young USBL league history unfold right before our eyes, man? That's something that, we'll have to go ahead and wait and see. And Cameron Maybin has a chance to go ahead with one swing of the bat, actually tie this game right here, right now, if he wants to. But instead, he's going to end up being walked. And Rowan Wick, who just came into the game recently, he's going to walk somebody in. So Chaz Rowe is going to now have to come in here. And trying to go ahead and try to win this, try to at least stop any more damage from being done as Nelson Cruz is at the plate. But Nelson Cruz ends up striking out. They're going to tell him that he went for that swing. You can't cross the plate with your whole body, man. You're 40 years old. You got to know a little bit better than that. As Gleyber Torres tries to come in, tries to play hero, but he's going to strike out swinging, though. And a huge pitch right there in order for Charlotte to remain in the lead. But hey, watch out for Cleveland, though. They're starting to rock and roll, and they're trying desperately to try to get back into this ball game. Charlotte's really struggling to get anything going since that really hot start that they have. And now Cleveland's back up to the plate once again. Ken Grubb trying to make sure that the comeback is actually complete. He's able to get an extra base hit down the left field line. And that is going to be considered the 5th double of the season for Ken Grubb. Although he still remains on second base as 2 batters later, Travis Shaw comes to the plate. He's currently 0 for 1 on the day so far. But he's going to get his first hit in a huge way so far. That's going to count as a home run. Home run number 2 for Travis Shaw. And it comes in a big time opportunity right now as Joe Jimenez will now come in the pitch. And guys, all of a sudden this game is all tied up. I thought we were going to be, maybe simming early to the end or maybe only showing a box score, but Cleveland really trying to make this a game. They come all the way back down by 6, after the terrible start they have, and then, all of a sudden we have a chance, maybe this could come down to the final inning as we're down. We just completed 8 innings at this point. It's now all tied up, 6 runs apiece. And with Charlotte not being able to get any runs on the board once again, suddenly they can walk off and win this game potentially, as Gleyber Torres, he's going to send this ball really deep. It actually makes it all the way out to the warning track. It will count as the first out, but runner does advance over to third base. And so runner is only 90 feet away from going ahead and winning this ball game. Ken Grubb all he needs is to get this out to the outfield, and he does it. Ken Grubb getting a base hit, and it's over. Cleveland rallies from 6 down in order to win, and they improve to 18-8 on the season. What an exciting ending. What a comeback by the Cleveland Rockers, defeating the Charlotte Cougars by a final score of 7-6. So what an amazing game that we just witnessed, as Cleveland was actually able to come back and win this game. Well, now we'll take a look at a little bit of a matchup between 2 teams in the Midwest, both of which are fighting for supremacy in the NL Central, as the Louisville Colonials and the Indianapolis Indians are only separated by half a game to start things out. This could potentially turn into a little bit of a rivalry right here, as we'll go ahead and cut to the bottom of the first inning. Madison Bumgarner taking on Charlie Blackmon, who's batting .290, but we got a steal on base as Clyde Walls, who has that 99 speed, able to steal second base with ease. And that means Charlie Blackmon, he's able to draw a walk as well, and with another walk being brought on as well, suddenly Louisville could be the team that could go ahead and strike first in this ball game. And we're only in the bottom of the first inning as well. A lot of these teams, man, when the game first starts, they really are waking up and choosing violence. As Tommy Pham, he's going to strike out looking, just doing that window shopping. Now we've David Peralta at the plate, batting .277, 2 home runs and 15 RBIs so far. But he's going to add to that RBI count. He gets at least 1 run home. This could be at least 2. David Peralta bringing in 2 runs. And that makes it now 17 RBIs for David Peralta. And it's also the first runs of the day here in this ball game, just in the bottom of the first inning. Louisville striking first, up 2-0. Although there could be some more runs, and we have a wild pitch situation, and that is going to go ahead. That's going to bring in another run. Just a little bit of a uncharacteristic throw from Madison Bumgarner, but it will still count as an earned run regardless. But that will be the last run being scored, though, as a ground out to the shortstop does end up, ending the inning. In Louisville off to a fast start here, up 3-0. As a go-ahead now hit to the top of the third inning. Walker Buehler off to a nice start so far, and facing the bottom of the order, that's something that you really like to see. But with the designator hitter enabled for both the NL and the AL here in the USBL, you cannot, and I seriously mean it when I say it, you cannot take any batter for granted. And he found out the hard way, and now facing the heat of the order for Indianapolis, playing vets like Andrew McCutchen, all that good stuff, you never know, man. And, found that out the hard way. And Andrew McCutchen, even though he doesn't end up getting on base with this at-bat, it still proves to be pretty productive, as it does end up being the first run of the game for Indianapolis. So it gets down to a 3-1 game for the time being, as Francisco Lindor, he's also going to get a base hit. It's down the left field line. It does end up making it all the way out to the wall. And a double for Francisco Lindor. Now, Indianapolis is only down by 1 run now all of a sudden. And now the manager's going to come out and talk to Walker Buehler, make sure his pitcher is doing all right. You want to make sure that you don't pull out your pitcher too early, but, if your pitcher doesn't have it, the pitcher just straight up doesn't have it, like it happens every once in a while. Hopefully this is not one of those cases where the pitcher has to be pulled out early, but the talk helps him out tremendously, as the next batter, Eric Hosmer, strikes out, and Louisville will remain in the lead for the time being. But it's only a 3-2 game, and Indianapolis looking to rally here, trying to retake the lead here in the top of the 4th inning. Fred Shaver actually going deep here in the process. He's not even known for the power hitting, but he ends up getting his 3rd home run of the season, and that ties the game up here as well, as that will bring up Brian O'Keefe to the plate a couple batters later, trying to see if he can add on to the productive 4th inning that Indianapolis has been having. But can't quite happen. At least makes contact, granted, but an out is still an out at the end of the day, and it was back to being a tied ball game here once again, all tied up at 3. We'll see if Louisville has a way to respond to it, as George Polanco comes up to the plate now. He hits this one deep out to left field and doesn't get it over the massive wall, but is going to end up getting a double, though. And Louisville now has 2 batters in scoring position, thanks to the 6th double of the season for George Polanco. As Buster Posey now comes to the plate, 1-2 count, a grounder out to the shortstop, where Buster Posey, he's out easily, but at the same time able to bring a runner in. So Buster Posey will be given the RBI, as Trey Turner now comes to the plate. Not a big power hitter, but has a lot of speed, though. So watch out for Trey Turner if he ends up on base. And here we go. A gapper shot out in the gap. Trey Turner making it all the way to second. You got to be quick in that ball in when Trey Turner or Clyde Wiles, comes into the game. Just having 2 guys that have 99 speed back to back, it's absolutely ridiculous. It is a crazy 1-2 punch that they have, especially when Clyde Wiles, he almost ends up getting a hit himself. If he, got that down and it got past the defender, that could have potentially have been another inside the park home run. I think we saw one in the last episode when Phoenix played Denver, but won't be able to see it here, as Louisville will still have the lead up 5-3. But Tyler Alexander, he does end up coming to the game. Walker Buehler does get pulled after 4 innings, unfortunately, as now we go ahead and see if we see what this new pitcher's got, man. Tyler Alexander, he's not a terrible reliever by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, certainly not the best reliever on the face of the planet. As Francisco Lindor, he comes to the plate here. 3 balls and 1 strike. He's going to try to throw one past the hitter, but that's going to be deep out to left field. It's going to be counted as an out. But at the same time, though, another run being brought in. Looks like it's going to be just a 1-run game, though, Is Eric Hosmer. He's back at the plate again. Been struggling a little bit in this series. Only batting 1 for 7 the whole series so far. Has not been a good series for Eric Hosmer, but he does more than make up for it. Another gapping shot. Center fielder almost stumbles off his feet. But this game is now all tied up all of a sudden. Back to basically a 0-0 game in the eyes of a lot of these guys. Whoever wins this game is going to be leading the NL Central. And I know it's super early in the season, but at the same time, you know, these games still count. These games are really important, you know. Even though maybe 162 games, you know, we've seen races decided in a few games or even less than a few games. Like going wire to wire is not always the case where one team ends up, you know, just pulling away from the rest of the division. Sometimes, you know, it's going to be, could be like this where Louisville and Indianapolis could be fighting for the division, you know, when we get to, you know, in September, going into October even. And we're seeing it in the intensity out there. Both teams not really giving up an inch. It's kind of back and forth, you know. Louisville gets a lead, but then Indianapolis responds. And then Louisville gets another lead, and then, you know, might see that here again. You know, as Louisville, this is the third lead that Louisville's had today alone, right? You know, it's been a really close one, and it's going to stay close as well as the pitcher ends up making the final out. But Charlie Blackmon is the guy that gives him another, you know, another nice hit, another nice lead. We'll see if Jake McGee can finally end the cycle. He's been doing really good so far. As we get to the top of the 6th inning, it actually ends up being tied in the process. But French Shaver, he could end up helping taking the lead right now. A nice little hit down to center field, but center fielder bobbles it, and French Shaver now gives Indianapolis the lead all of a sudden. And then we might be in for a great season in the NL Central. These are the two best teams because they are really going at it. Even some extra innings action at the same time. You absolutely love to see it. And Kenley Jensen now coming into the game now. He has not allowed a single run this entire season. 8 save opportunities. 8 saves and makes it number 9. And Indianapolis will go ahead and take the lead in the NL Central as the door is closed shut. And Indianapolis does end up winning by a final score of 7-6. So for the final game of today's episode of USBL here on MLB The Show 21, we got a good one here as the Houston Astronauts, who also are winning this division right now. They're leading in the ALS. They're going to be taking on the Atlanta Barons, and the Atlanta Barons, they're just trying to make sure that they don't end up getting swept, as the Houston Astronauts did end up winning the first 2 games in this series so far, that these two teams have played each other, you know, here in this early part of May, as Brad Keller is on the mound for the Houston Astronauts. But it's not a good start here as Atlanta, determined to not get swept, gonna go ahead and get himself a solo shot. Yoan Moncada getting his 2nd home run of the season in order to go ahead and make this a 1-0 lead. And, you know, Atlanta, you know, they're a type of team, they got some guys all around this lineup. You know, when your 9th hitter is batting .310, that's usually a good look, even though that ends up being the 3rd out of the inning. But Atlanta's gonna end up striking first here at the same time. They end up leading 1-0 as Robertson Chirrios, he's going to be at the plate right now. He's been doing pretty good as of late, 9 for his last 27 at bats, and is going to continue the hot streak that he's been feeling, as well as that ends up being yet another home run for Chirrios. And so his hot streak's going to continue, and also gives him the tie too in the process, as Houston's doing a really good job of getting some hits. That almost ends up being a ground rule double as well, but it just barely bounces off the wall. Miguel Reyes getting his 7th double of the season. And they got another guy out in scoring position. We'll see if they can go ahead and bring him home. And looks like Rejos is going to be able to go home here as an RBI single by Kirsten Hira ends up tries to take it to a double. Not a good base running whatsoever. Probably should have waited just a little bit longer, I would say, but hey, Houston able to take the lead for the time being. They're up 2-1 thus far as we get to the bottom of the third inning. Garrett Hobson, he's going to take this one deep out to left field. Are we going to see another home run? Yes, we are. 5 runs being scored, almost all of them coming from the home run ball. All except maybe one, but a lot of dingers being hit next yet again. If you like home runs, you're really gonna enjoy this episode, man. Which, by the way, if you haven't done so already, smash the like button, man. If you're enjoying the content here, you enjoying this USBL action, hit that subscribe button as well, man. Trying to grow the community as well, as we got a nice close ball game here between the Atlanta Barons and the Houston Astronauts. As William Tan is now at the plate. He's actually 1 for 1 so far. Big opportunity. Him has runners at the corners. As William Tan, unfortunately, he might have just hit himself into a double play. No! William Tan actually beats it out, hustles down the first base line. Never gave up on that play, even though that probably wasn't necessarily what he was looking for. And as a result of it, turns into another run for Atlanta, and then the inning keeps going where even another run is added onto the board. So Atlanta, they continue to build this lead up. They got it up to a 5-2 lead here at home, really trying to fight to make sure that this sweep doesn't happen. Nothing worse than being swept at home, straight up and down, but still feels like it's a lost opportunity to a degree because the bases were loaded even when there was 2 outs there, but couldn't bring those guys home. And it's still a great inning, don't get me wrong, but just feels like there was something left on the table. As Luis Robert, he's going to be up to the plate now. He's going to send this one deep out to center field, the deepest part of the park, and it doesn't even matter. Luis Robert gets his 5th home run of the season. Was only batting 1 for 5 the whole series prior to that moment, but hey, that's a big moment though. If that ends up tying the game, or at least puts him in a position to tie the game, although Griffin Cannon actually gets hit. Looks like for Atlanta, that looked like it could have hurt a little bit. We'll have to see if he does remain in the game, which, spoiler alert, he does not. He actually ends up getting shaken up, so Taylor Williams now has to come into the game maybe a little bit sooner than expected, because, Griffin Cannon, he was actually having himself a nice little start so far. But, it is what it is, though. Reliever gonna have to come in, make some good pitches here as Josh Bell comes to the plate, currently batting 0 for 2. But there's the first hit of the day for Josh Bell. He's gonna try to go for home and make this a 1-run game. He's safe. And Houston now only down by 1 run. Here comes the Astronauts. An offense at times that is out of this world. As Brandon Belt comes to the plate, tries to tie the ball game up, but no dice there. Gonna actually end up striking out in order to end the inning. And so because of that, Atlanta holding on to the lead for right now. We'll see if Atlanta can at least gets a little bit more insurance runs on the board, as Austin Voth is going to come into the game here. Bottom of the 5th inning as well. Starters in general might, I don't know what's going on. Might have to tinker with the sliders a little bit after the end of the season. I don't like to mess with the sliders, in the middle of the season, because that's how, I don't want that to be infected or anything like that. But at the same time, though, it's turning into, that means we're also getting some good offense, and that's what I like to see, because I like my pitching duels, not going to lie, but, I don't want to make sure that you guys aren't always seeing pitching duels and that there almost never is any scoring to see whatsoever. I didn't want any of that, but it is what it is. Atlanta, they end up getting another run on the board thanks to Yohan Moncada's hit, and they get that insurance run that they're looking for. You know, despite the fact that, you know, they had to go to the bullpen a little bit sooner, maybe even they wanted to, but hey, you know, with that being said, you know, the bullpen stepping up so far, man. They only allowed 1 run, you know, in like the few innings that they've been there, and you know, getting more strikeouts than hits for sure, you know, which is something that I always, you know, like to see in a bullpen. But for whatever reason, they decided to bring in Joey Rodriguez after, you know, that last strikeout. You know, it's a little bit odd to bring him in the game then, and might not be a good decision now in retrospective, because the first batter he faces, Josh Bell, goes yard out in left field, 382 feet, and now this game is all tied up because of it. And you know, yeah, you feel like, you know, you got to do better. You know, maybe make a little bit better managing decisions, which, I mean, the managers, they weren't touched, you know, prior to this. We'll definitely tinker with that as well when we get into the off season for year number 1. But, I mean, for right now, all things considered, we got a really close game on our hands as Jeremy Jeffress comes into the game here, top of the 8th, as Atlanta failed to score, you know, to try to respond to Houston Astronauts. It's now 2-2 count here. This ball is hit deep out into left field, and it's another home run. Alex Kirilloff this time. Only his 2nd home run of the season, but coming in a huge moment as well. Ends up being the 2nd home run of the season. And, you know, ends up being a strikeout here as well on top of it. And so here we go. You know, full count here. Top of the 8th inning. Miguel Rojas trying to, you know, extend it even further, and it's going to end up being an out here as well. Going to the middle of the 8th inning, the Astronauts, they rallied back, man. They have the lead once again as Yasmero Petit comes into the game. 2.38 ERA, trying to close the door, but a runner on third base. Evan Longoria gets this hit. We got extra innings on our hands, but Longoria not only is going to foul it, but right fielder actually able to come up and make the catch out in right field. So the Houston Astronauts end up winning this game by a final score of 7-6. A good win here for sure, as Houston ends up coming out on top. So guys, that being said, that is actually going to go ahead and wrap up today's USBL episode. Next time out, they're going to be the rest of the USBL games from, you know, the early portion of May. But for the time being, you know, we're only a month away from the draft officially happening. And right now, I will be starting the process of getting some custom recruits, you know, that will be part of the, you know, part of that first ever USBL draft class. You know, so if you're a channel member, you know, make sure you watch out for the community tab. And if you're not a channel member as well, I encourage you to go look at that as well. If you want to get a USBL prospect early, it's going to be first come, first serve. But yeah, man, that being said, that's going to wrap things up here. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you have to be brand new. And even leave a comment for me. I would truly appreciate that as well. With that being said, I'm going to sign off, but I'm hoping you're all out there having a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.